All right, Lee, you know what we're going to be watching today?
Tell me when we were going to be watching today.
Your favorite genre, creature features,
Ooh.
Razorback.
Oh, what?
You never heard of this
What
one?
is a...
So Razorback is a
boar?
pig. It's like a wild boar.
Boar.
In Australia, these sons of bitches can really wreak some havoc, and this one is much larger than your average.
How big are we talking?
I believe it's like half an elephant, like a rhino or something.
Okay.
Like pretty fucking big. I've not seen this one myself. I've been actually waiting.
Is this like a legendary thing for you?
This one's a classic. I had been looking for this one for a while.
Let's be clear.
In the racks and stuff.
You are the creature feature modern, even not only nostalgic but modern fan.
Yeah,
right?
I like all creature features.
And this is on the
this one is
anticipate because this is an older one, right?
Yeah, I've seen a trailer for this movie.
Oh.
And that's what set me on this hunt. Well, I say hunt. This is not hard to find. You could go on like Amazon right now and buy this movie. I am a cheap bastard, and I don't like paying more than $2 for anything. And so I look at flea markets. It's also part of the fun is the hunt. I have so many movies at my disposal. I don't need any movie at any moment. So I can wait until I find it for the price I'm looking to get it for.
You enjoy the hunt enough.
I do.
It's
and this one I've been waiting to watch too for a while because I've had this one for I think like 6 months or more now. Been waiting.
It feels fresh though still.
Yeah, I got this. It was wrapped new.
Yes, it looks like it was sealed. Yes.
Yeah. No.
This is 1984 though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like from the shot on the back, I'm seeing like a practical tusky hairy.
I believe it's all practical.
Well, it's not going to be CG.
No, yeah.
But yeah, like I'm seeing like you see the thing. Like,
but what I mean is, it's not like you're going to see a camera and in front of the camera is 2 tusks and it's going to be like Tusco vision.
Although
maybe like you see some cool shit in this. Let me jump into the back here because you came into this with no preconceived notions. What I find funny is in my first scan I can see them say it's rhino-sized.
Oh.
It's no cute koala munching eucalyptus leaves. It's a rhino-sized denizen of the Outback that can turn you into a blood feast faster than the time it takes to whip up a BLT. That's a very strange sentence.
That's so specific.
Out of a wasteland of beauty and death comes Razorback, tensely directed by Russell McLean. He's the guy that did Highlander.
What?
I also butchered how you pronounce his last name. And ominously shot by Dean Semler. He did Mad Max's cinematography. He also did Dance with Wolves.
Are you okay? That's on the box.
Yeah,
got it. I'm like, how do you know these things?
I'm a damn scientist.
He's amazing.
Gregory Harrison plays a naive American arriving down under to look for his missing wife. Unequipped for the rough landscape and unprepared for the horrors lurking within, he's soon battling to survive. Amid the hanging carcasses of the pet pack canary, he confronts the monstrous creature while a conveyor belt inches man and beast towards razor-sharp blades that will make pet food out of one or both. I'm not entirely sure what all those words mean.
That's so specific.
But this is going to be interesting.
That's such a weird beat poetry version of like predicting the whole plot of a movie or something like that. I'm slightly less excited now that I've read that.
A nifty little shocker, a true delight for any horror film fancier. That's from Los Angeles Times.
So Russell Mulcahy also directed Resident Evil Extinction.
Oh, cool.
And that's like the only one, I think. Whatever.
Well, weren't all the rest of them done by
Wes Anderson?
Yeah.
No.
No, what?
Paul W.S. Anderson?
Yeah, that sounds more like it.
That's not it either. I tricked you.
It sounds more like it, though. Wes Anderson didn't
do any
of those.
It does sound more like it, yeah. Anthony Anderson directed Resident Evil. No, like the time period alone and just this whole thing, that's a real time period like description, honestly, where it's like, you'll spill, you'll chill, you'll do all it's this weird where you're like,
even
what
if
are
you
we
cut
doing?
like a little earlier, like you went like 10 years earlier than this, it would be like, just let me tell you everything that happens in the movie.
Exactly. Like we've kind of drifted away from that where it's like, hey, get ready for adventure with this. And now it's like, and at the end, he's in a place with a big saw, and you're like, wait, why are we doing all this?
Or is that a metaphor?
I don't. Maybe the boar.
Some of the other
is in all of this.
Now I already forgot. I just read it. But one of those sentences was like, what the hell does that mean? Well, like fast as you can whip up a BLT. That's a very specific reference.
I was holding the box and looking at at the back, and I'm like, I'm dehydrated. I'm not gonna be able to read this right. The sentences are weird. He'll do fine. And then you were like, what am I doing here? Like. It's very interesting.
It doesn't play out like a typical back.
No, it's weird, yeah.
But I think this movie's going to be really awesome because like this is
this
is on like a lot of people's top 10 list for like best creature feature movies.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you know if it's set in Australia and filmed in Australia?
Yeah.
Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, I think even that can give it a little bit of like a distance, little Crocodile Dundee type thing.
Like I think there's like a lot of
Yeah.
cool practical effects in this movie, like
Yeah.
just from little things I've gleaned off of like hearing people talk. So I'm
Nice.
very much excited to check this guy out.
I don't recognize any of the people, but that's
I
probably
think
fine.
I think some people this was like their only thing.
Yeah, right. Maybe
But,
they're Australian actors too.
Certainly
something like
possible. People that just get local
that?
people.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'm looking to expand my knowledge of this particular genre, so I feel like get another high point in there, so I can shit on every other movie.
Well, yes.
Comparing it to this will be
I think
nice move.
I think this one will be something like
Yeah.
it'll just be like, oh, that's a good movie.
Right.
Happens to be a creature feature.
Which is always
Yeah.
what I'm more into than like, well, you have to forgive it all these things because it's a creature. But yeah.
No.
Right.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be checking this one out in a few mementos. Looking to see what the length of this movie is. I don't see it. Do you see it listed on there?
3 hours long.
Oh, 95 minutes. All right, guys. So we'll see you in an hour and a half. All right, guys. Here we're going to talk about Razorback from 1984.
Yeah.
A old school creature feature.
Is it a creature feature?
It's a movie featuring a creature.
It features a creature for part of it.
Yeah, it is used sparingly, and I think that's
Yeah.
because it's a practical effect.
Oh, yes.
And it does look good. It is a nice looking effect when you do see it.
So like overall, right? We go to Australia. There's a monstrous. A razorback is a boar, a wild pig. Things happen. Overall impressions, recommending. How do you feel about the movie?
It's a bit slow by today's, I think, like horror standards.
I could get
but
with that.
I think if you're into like horrors of all types, and particularly like a creature feature and kind of like a slow burn of practical effects, this is something for you.
Yeah, I would say for me, like less of a recommendation for the effects and for the weird like time period of it. I think it's really cool. But
That's really where it lies, its strength. It's
Yeah.
that, like you're like, oh, it's like an '80s movie, so you're like, okay, I know a little bit about what I'm getting into
Yeah.
already, because the '80s were a different time for movies.
Well, and like Australia was a different place too. I feel like
Sure.
it was hard for me to engage with it, and there's parts of it like once you get to the end, like you can forget about a lot of what you've been through to get there,
Yes.
and there's and that's when cool things start to happen. But even so, they made some choices that we'll get into later that I didn't love. I think though, if you really liked older movies and practical effects, it's something to check out. I wouldn't say it's like, oh, it's a hidden gem. It's 10 out of 10. It's amazing. Gotta check this out.
In no way would I
Yeah.
be saying it is. I think it is worth watching. I'd probably give it like a 5 or 6 as out of like a 10 rating.
Totally.
For your creature feature presentation here.
Yeah, like not so. Not like bad, like, oh, watch this for research purposes, like this is homework, but not so good that it's like, oh man, I just throw this on every now and then because it's so good. It's not like, oh my, yeah, no.
Agreed.
Okay.
But
all right.
rhino-sized pig, that's probably gonna be all you need to entice a demographic here.
Exactly. No, if you're like, hey, I wonder what it was like when they had to build a pig instead of just programming a pig and having the pig not look like it's really there, because this pig is really there.
Yeah, it's in every shot it's in.
It's
is there.
It has to be, right? So there we go.
All right, so those are the thoughts, the non-spoiler aspect of this show. Check it out if you will. If not, you can hear about what we're going to say about right now, which will be full of spoilers.
Yay.
All right, so the opening of the movie, so we have it is a journalist who's flying to Australia to talk about kangaroos being mass slaughtered for dog food.
Yeah, she's like an animal rights-minded journalist. And you see, well, so like before that though, we get the prologue where like the old man, a boar, like runs through his house like a cartoon character and like snatches up or like his like instead of just being dead, it's like missing and like not there or whatever, right? Here I'm like digging it. I'm like, this movie's weird as fuck. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And like he's on trial in some weird like the
kangaroo court.
Well, some weird like The Stranger thing where he's in like a weird cell. And it's like voiceover of the trial as you're watching him go to sit in like judgment.
But
it's
like,
a nice.
what doesn't make sense
it's good.
about this? I'm like, okay, child is missing, was in the grandfather's care.
Yeah.
Okay, someone's got to be held accountable. The boar did run through his house. What do they think he did? Do you think he broke his own leg, destroyed his house, and then like threw his kid as far as he could?
That is my like note. Is what about the hole in his house?
Yeah.
So like,
does that not speak to that there was something large here?
Yeah. And so he ends up like not being convicted. I wouldn't say he's exonerated, but they're like, oh, there's not enough evidence in the case and all that stuff, right?
And how could
this
there
weird
be?
thing? Well, yes, because it's obvious, right? So whatever. That all wraps up very quickly. He's like sleeping outside next to his hovel, and he wakes up in a cold sweat or a hot sweat because it's Australia, and he's like, haunted by the memories of the beast. And it's pretty clear there. It's like confirmed soon that now he's like the beast is evil. It must die. He's like he's like
he's
that
the Captain
guy.
Ahab.
Yeah, he's like the dude, hunting Razorbacks now. He's like doing his thing. Yeah.
Which he may have already been, like, I think he was already a Razorback hunter because they mentioned something like, and you couldn't kill it, blah, blah, blah. It was unkillable, his hide was too thick, and blah, blah, blah.
Okay, yeah, so there's a lot crammed in here. They set up, the bristleback, a Razorback thing, like you can't hit him in the back, you have to hit him from underneath.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm sure that'll come into play, I guess, and it kind of...
It does.
Not like that's his Achilles heel, though. It's a weird,
No, but it is
thing.
How the first injury occurs.
Yeah, exactly.
Ramming
it's
him,
one in like a
old,
series of things.
Hawaiian style spear against a tree method.
Or in like the Edge or whatever, they do the whole thing where they have to kill a big animal or whatever. This, though, in the intro is where everything goes nuts for me, because then we do 2 years later, New York City, and I'm like, excuse me?
Now, a little strange for the
I was expecting us to follow, not Charlton Heston,
old guy,
Sean Connery or whatever the fuck. I expected to follow him, like whittling spears and setting up traps and slowly building to this crazy thing where he has to, and like the town doesn't believe him, and then we get all these weird dudes in Australia.
Well, he had to like fly off the success of Crocodile Dundee or whatever and do some New York lady thing.
Yes, so we have a new...
Which is what's strange about that is though it's not even like this New York lady thing. She's relatively quickly semi-raped and killed off.
Yeah.
And then it's left to the husband who we met briefly, making some salad or some shit.
My note is like, oh man, that note's very short. I said somewhere that like he's like a modern progressive male. He's like got an apron on, like cooking dinner and all that stuff. And that's meant to be like a curveball that now, like, this is my major problem with the movie. This is full spoilers, so we're not gonna like structure the whole plot out for you. This woman dies. The old man dies. It's left up to the husband like completely. And he like has a weird forced Steven Seagal-esque love interest with her where they don't even kiss with some hot Australian babe.
Yeah, like he kisses her forehead or like her hair
they like nuzzle or something, and like she seems dead and she's like, it's like, that's my major issue with the movie.
How the hell did that even happen? Somehow
the boar like tied her up.
Somehow she falls from the catwalk on perfect timing, like it's a Halloween haunted house.
Yeah,
and like
a skeleton.
Drops, and there she is with her legs tied by rope hanging upside down.
I know, she like got caught in the rigging or some crazy thing like that. The husband to me was like the worst character. I hate that it was all about him.
Yeah,
and like
very true.
I don't want it to be predictable. I don't want to say like, oh, every movie's bad unless it does what I would have done. But like, it was such a perfect setup, and I feel like they did it on purpose, right? Because we have animal rights-minded activist, like a journalist, who's like, no, we have to capture it, we have to document it, like science. It doesn't deserve to die. And then we have this old man who's like, you're not from around here. It's evil. I've seen what it can do. And then like this conflict of like her having to like either like accept that, right? It's like
now everything he's saying is not in the movie. Just so you know, that he's saying that's what should have happened. But that's what you think is going to happen.
That's where you think it's going, and then she dies. But, and then and I was open-minded. Now the husband shows up, and I'm like, oh, okay. So now he's like vengeful.
He'll hire the pig hunter guy.
And like they're gonna get together and like do their thing. And now he's the outsider because she went with like a cameraman and she's traveled before, but he has to be like and they're doing the right thing. He gets in the car on like the wrong side. He like
and then drives on the wrong side.
Yeah, he like pals around with the mutant Outback people for a little bit. It's real weird. It's like okay, but then he just turns into Eric whoever, like the like B-movie action hero guy, Eric Roberts. Yeah, he just turns into some random action hero dude. There's nothing special. There's nothing vengeful. There's nothing whatever.
But he wasn't.
I was so upset.
He wasn't your typical action. Like he never were you like, oh, look at him doing these amazing things. He's like one-shotting swamp rat. Like, you don't.
No.
There's nothing like that. He like vomits at the sight of like a kangaroo dying.
Yes.
He like, fumbles and does some crap all throughout the way.
I don't mean to say that he's competent. I just mean to say like he's the guy in the role that has to solve the problem. And like the whole Camry is gonna explode, and he has to like there's so many setups and payoffs. There's like a spinning blade of death. There's a whole thing. He has to like whack the pressure cooker thing to like save there's all these things, and I'm like, what? what? Who are you? What are we doing? What's happening here? I don't know. I was not.
No, but like you can't say a lot of like you've almost directly said is that there's so much unexpected things in this movie that they don't make. It's not like
there's a whole middle that we have to get into.
Yes,
yeah.
It's not in a sense that you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Like, oh, you totally threw off where I was going. It's mainly like, what the fuck is that shit? And like, why is that even in the movie?
Right, like, it's not the subverting of the expectations or this idea that, like...
But it does. Well, it's just not in a way that you would expect.
That's the meme, is, you subverted my expectations because you took away something that might have been good and just either left me with nothing or something bad. Right?
Yeah, there's weird exploration of the Australian outback in, like, scenes where you're like, what is this? Where is this near? Why is this happening?
Okay. So after the failed kangaroo hunt with the Outback mutants, if any of this interests you, check the movie out. There's all these things. I'm not going to cover every, but there's a pretentious, like, I was thinking Aboriginal spirit walk montage, and they didn't do it, but they did it anyway. He's like hallucinating skeletons of animals coming out of the sand, and it's like bright white and blue, and then it's like orange and red.
Them first,
yes.
Then you see them come out of the sand.
So let's talk about that because we're just going to derail everything.
What is that, a cow or is that a pig?
I don't know.
What was it supposed to be?
It looked like the like good guys of the split people from Dark Crystal. It looked like those, like, I forget their name, but like the slow herbivore type peoples versus the Skeksis. A lot of this movie in like the climactic moments until the end felt like shots were like inserted out of order or like not right, and like in a way where I'm like, you're not even hiding that you can't see the boar or the animal or the guy or the wide. It's just like a weird frenetic, like the editing might have been like bad or something, where I'm like, I don't have a sense of where you are or what you're doing. Wait, didn't that guy get away? Oh no, yeah, he did. Like there's a lot of moments like that where I'm like, what is happening? Why are you inserting a shot here of him running again? He's pinned there, I thought. Oh no, he is pinned there. Like all this, it was really weird. I couldn't. I was like,
no, it was strange. Like the guy eventually finds out that these two people had something to do with the death of his wife.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows it was the boar that killed them, but knows like they were involved in some way.
She was only out there and like left for
tracks them down.
Dead.
Like the one guy, he like lets him fall a few feet down a well, and then like kicks dirt at him, and then like lets him like go to the bottom.
Fall the rest of the way down.
That guy could just. I don't think he's dead. The hole is so small that he just put his legs out and just...
No, I was gonna say, like, they make it seem like a death sentence. He doesn't even cut the like cord that he can help
climb right back
to climb up on, or shout, and then someone can go hit the button and like like winch him back out.
I don't think anyone's finding him, but yeah.
Plus, it's so small, like you said.
It's such a small hole.
Which is scary, being dropped down a small hole by a man. But yeah.
But you could like this walk out. Like it was not wide.
And these are like in my notes I just called all these characters the mutants of the Outback or whatever. It has a weirdly Mad Max like vibe.
I was thinking Mad Max.
Which I'm like, is Mad Max just a documentary? Like what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Like is this like a weird redneck of the Australia stereotype? Because this is a whole other movie. Like the dude may as well be chugging gasoline and like doing like it's so weirdly like future biker apocalypse
like
men.
Where they keep going to find like the pigs, like the watering hole area where it's just like bones and like some sort of like machinery thing happening in a building that does I don't know what, but it's running constantly.
Yes.
And I'm like, where is this? How far is this from civilization?
Right.
It seems like such a bizarre thing. At one point he's walking through what looks like the biggest desert in the world.
The salt flats.
And it's like 1 second later he's like back at the house where that girl lives. I'm like, what the hell?
That's
for like
why.
A random TNA shot.
That's why that was like a spirit journey sequence, but it's meant to represent him wandering the Outback and eventually finding her place. But yeah, are like the salt flats and like the smoldering hills and like the Mordor, is all that in between wherever he drove to the first day and like her place? Yeah. And then why don't we ever go back there? Why isn't there like boar hunting happening there? This movie was problematic, is what I'm trying to say.
It's certainly, there are some issues with it, but like it has some really cool things. Like you flash back to some like dude's house and he's like watching TV, and the house just gets pulled away.
Gets torn away from him.
Yeah, he has a pig trap that traps the largest pig, but what would hold a normal pig does not hold a rhino-sized pig, and it drags his fucking house away while he doesn't die. He's just watching TV, so like, and now the TV's like zipping down the way.
The TV's still on. Is getting pulled away, and he's sitting there on the couch like, what, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I'm like, what year is this in Australia? I'm like, is like, could there be a generator attached to that part of the house? Like, did it take away like?
Why is the TV
still has power? That has power. Is it battery battery powered? Like, I know it is for this shot, but what am I looking at here?
Yeah,
like,
it was pretty.
Is it supposed to be a funny bit? Because it's not a funny movie.
No, like
so I was like, I was a little confused.
I took that to be like a funny insert.
Uh-huh.
But there's like 2 or 3 shots of that guy watching TV and laughing at stuff later and doing stuff.
Which are all filmed at the same time.
Yes, but I don't know why those are inserted there. That's what I mean. Like I don't think like the editing's bad. I do, I guess. Literally think the editing's bad.
I think that was just a really expensive, good shot.
Yeah.
But it's weird if that's supposed to be funny to have this very expensive insert shot of like, oh yeah, and this for comedic relief. But it wasn't very funny. But it was cool. It looked nice. There's a lot of like, oh, we built a house and we burned it down. Or we built a house and we destroyed
big time.
it. I really wonder about how these animal food processing plants work, because there's just like pigs sitting out. There's no AC in there, like rotting. There's just bones on the ground and rotting meat all over. I'm like, this would be the most horrendous place to be in, and these guys just like hang out there.
Yeah, so that's we can talk about.
It smell like death.
We can talk about that whole thing, right? Like the lady reporter dies because she kind of busts this like gross operation that the mutants are like.
And what is she
running
even
a cannery
busting
or something?
Though?
I don't know.
Because like they do run that, like that's all what they do. It's
there
their
are
actual
pigs
job.
there, yeah.
So I'm like,
they are like
what?
They are like apparently also killing things that they're not supposed to kill and like grinding them up and putting them in the dog food or like the meat or whatever they're making or something like that. But again, like that shot of her with her camera and the guy like popping out of the window is so weirdly bad for even for this film. It like didn't track or
and
make
he like grabs like the lens hood.
It pops off the lens.
She's like, just leaves it.
Bye and all that stuff. And then like they don't catch up to her like until night. Like even just little things like that where I'm kind of like, what are we doing there?
How far away is she? But she did say I'll be back by dusk. So like I guess it was already planning to do this thing, and maybe she took a little bit longer than she was.
I'm willing to go. I don't know why I'm harping at that then, but that's not the issue. We follow these mutants around for a while, They have, like the Mad Max, there might as well have been a guy on the helicopter or whatever the hell, right? And this cannery is like in like a legend, when they go down to like the blacksmiths and there's like skeletons and fire and weird stuff. Where and even the cave where like the mutants hang out, and it's like, here's your bunk over here, it's nice and soft and all that. Like that part is still like this gothic looking cave lair where like the Lost Boys go.
They take the time to stuff a bird and then he just like shoots it at one point. You're like, that would have taken you a long time. Like, why did you do that?
Yeah, like we're
just on a lark, like, oh, bing.
We're setting up that they're so crazy or so whatever the hell, and then
they're just so redneck that they don't give a shit.
Yeah, and like I don't even know if that pays off properly for me. If I felt
not really
the danger or like the thing, like that should have been.
It just felt odd. Where I was like, why is he even there? Like, what is he doing with this?
Like why is that section of the movie set up like that? Why does he make friends with them, and then when he finishes off the kangaroo, but they still leave him there? And they say, I'll be back in 5 or 6 hours, and then they come back, but like they don't come back because he wanders back to the lady's house.
Well, they may have came back. He was wandered away.
It's so like,
but it's
what's
weird
happening?
Just the idea of leaving him in the outback. They left him with no weapon. Yeah. They throw him a blanket. He curls up with a dead kangaroo because it's still warm.
The warmth of the corpse.
And it's just such a weird thing where I'm like, there's just so much in Australia that could kill him.
Apparently,
he's not from there. He's a rube. He's an idiot. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like,
I wasn't even clear why they were leaving him there. It seems so strange to me.
I think it's because
ruined their thing.
They fucked up this business. So like their plan is that you shoot these kangaroos and you don't kill them because that way they're fresh.
Oh.
It's like natural refrigeration. Until it dies, it doesn't start to rot.
I see.
So like they just leave it there and they're gonna take it later. But he finishes it and that fucks up their thing. Like, all right then, fuck you.
For one kangaroo? Yeah.
Well.
Human life was worthless in the mutant outback of 1984 in Australia, apparently.
Probably still is.
I don't know. I don't know anything about anything. It was such a weird, because like going into it, I expected, it'll be like Mad Max and weird, but I'm like, that's racist or something. Don't think that. And then we literally they're like the Trailer Park Boys. One guy has big Coke bottle glasses, and they're like arguing. But that should have felt like Hills Have Eyes or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where you're like, what are these people capable of? Mm-hmm. And then at the end, you find out he's capable of running away a little. And like, I don't know what's going on.
They weren't your tough outback men. Like, it never really got to that. He was like crying as dirt got kicked at him. Yeah. And the other one just like, died. Even
if they were like not like big buff, like dangerous looking guys, they could have been crazy, which they were.
Crazy's always scarier.
Yes. So that would have been fine.
What are you capable of? I have no idea. Are you gonna eat your own fingers to get power to kill me? I don't know.
Yes, like something crazy like that. But so like so much of the movie is dedicated to that. Mm-hmm. I was just like, what are we doing?
There's a lot of like setup for nothing.
Yeah.
Like, as in it sets up nothing. You could just cut, like, this movie could have been 30 minutes shorter, and it probably wouldn't have changed much in what the actual movie was.
Right.
What's weird is the mutants, the Australian redneck Outback men, they think that they are found out, that they had something to do with the murder of this lady, when really it's not even a murder per se.
No.
They could get, I guess, assault charges maybe, but they think that the old man thinks they killed her or whatever it is. He has the
yeah, they go after him.
And they go after him, and they smash his knees and leave him in the Outback. They don't just kill him.
Yeah.
Because I guess it'd be a lot easier to get found out if you just murdered somebody than if they are eaten by boars after their knees got smashed.
The boars only eat people that are still struggling?
No,
it's possible.
I imagine that like they do leave the bones though, and a bullet or a stab wound could show, and
the detailed forensic stuff that's happening. Yeah.
From what I understand, the pigs leave very little to the imagination. It should all be relatively
Snatch told us
done.
that.
Yes. But
no, that was a weird part too.
That was odd.
That's the scene you're talking about where he like crawls up. I think that was a pump or something, because something leaks, water leaks onto him or something leaks onto him.
Well, that could even just be condensation, like an AC would have.
Like it's a generator or a pump, whatever it is. But the door's like flapping open and shut. There's a whole like pack of boars, but they're like normal ones. But they're like the most terrifying thing in the world.
Well, they're like super like intelligent boars, because at one point our main character was on a tower, and like they ate the bolt or knocked it enough that it falls and he goes into the water. Any other direction, he'd be dead. But he goes into the water, and this was the biggest jump scare scene for me, was like a boar's head just popped out of the water.
Yeah.
So like I was waiting for like a crocodile or something.
Sure.
Because I was like, oh, they're in Australia.
Probably some other animal.
That's a thing. And I'm picturing like, how like that terrifying slow jump they do, and I'm just waiting for it to happen, and then just the head pops out. I'm like, what was holding that down? Or was that? What's that? Like, what ate that head? How did we get here? They have established that the boars are cannibalizing each other in this time period.
They do mention that. And that this whole scene, though, is supposed to show, like, you can't swim. As if that's going to come into play when he beats the big boar later. And
I wanted, idiots, you can't swim, crocodile, and he has to get out of the water immediately.
Exactly. Or like now he's hiding, but he's trapped in there because there's something else in the water, like a venomous snake or a crocodile or whatever.
It would have been nice to see him trapped like in the structure of it. Like he's
and he is. He's like sitting there for a while. And he's like, F this is awful or something like that. But honestly, like if they had set up where he was like, I'm a modern New Yorker. I can probably just go tell them what's up, and they'll fix everything. This is ridiculous. I want to speak to your manager. And then he got like shat on and dragged through the Outback, and it was awful, as if that was going to change his character and make him learn something. But they don't really do that. Maybe the scene of him with like the Norelco electric shaver was meant to imply that he's like a city slicker, and now he's learning how to be like a tough guy. But I don't think so.
No,
or it wasn't enough.
Exactly that for me.
Yeah.
I wonder, and. It's hard to say.
So we'll get down. There's other stuff. Who cares? Do they kiss? No, they don't kiss. The ending. So now we get finally to the, real quick, another moment of humor which was very out of place to me, when they all pounce on like the little boar, because that's the other one that she put the tracker on.
Like she works this job, and she's only tagged one other boar ever it seems,
apparently,
and can't tell the difference between them. Like,
the tags don't have IDs or something. Sure. Like weird old computer looking screen to show who's tagged and follow them.
I like that, and I liked how it just moves. You need to put the overlays to know like where they are on the map.
God.
Like, how does that work?
I didn't catch that part, and I love it.
I thought it was great. I don't understand how it works at all, but I like it.
Totes. No, I don't. That whole flow though too was another like weird. Like I'm not sure why that's in there, because like she's like rallying the troops, and they're all at the bar like yay. Then we see them pouncing on the little boar, and it's played for comedy. And then later they're all back at the bar somehow already, but it's still the same day. And then she's calling them like no, this time I got it, and like it's been a long day, love. We're doing drinking, and like they're like fuck you or whatever, right?
Yeah,
just to like
you cried wolf too many times.
But like why do we even need to explain why they aren't there? We never had to talk to them ever again. This is horrible.
Yeah, I didn't hate that part. I'm like, because you probably would have been like, why didn't they call them again? Why did she go up there alone?
Why didn't they call these people? Yeah. I mean the whole thing. Why call them the first time? Why even do this? I don't know.
To pay off something with a tracker, you had to have something reason. Like, I guess you could have just not had her tag the other one, not blah, blah, blah.
That was a nice moment.
Never used it, because you had to eventually get an explanation for how he shot it with the tracker gun.
Yeah.
Period.
That was a weird scene too, where it's like frantically cutting between like the scoped shot of the boar and the wide shot of the boar and the tight shot of his face as he's doing
Little
stuff,
bits of meat shooting off
back
it when
and
he
forth,
hits it.
and he's shooting. Yeah, and it's crazy back and forth. And then he finally, I couldn't tell he even hit it with the tracker. He's shooting it, and it's like mostly over the hill, and I didn't see it like land, and I'm like, what was happening here? And then like, we got him. And I'm like, okay.
I think there was something with the accent of when they described that gun in the first place.
Yeah.
I thought she said trank gun, not track gun.
She said dart gun, I believe.
Yeah, whatever. Maybe I just assumed it was a tranquilizer dart and not a tracking dart.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like when the little pig got it, it was a thing on the ear, like a clamped bit.
I know.
So I had no reason to believe those are the same thing.
Yeah, and like, why would you be able to shoot it with something that would like stay in it? It's like moving and would like jostle it to come out.
I don't know.
Whatever. Yeah. Eventually, we finally get to the end. It's the canning factory. He's already brought one of the men to justice. It's time for the showdown.
Yeah.
The beast shows up.
Beast does indeed
finally
show up.
get a good look at it. We get close-ups of snarling, and it's wet, and its teeth and stuff. It has
good like movement
Yeah.
of pieces. There's
Big
like a
time.
lot of little bits in here. There's one shot, I think only one shot, of like the eye, and like it's like a really good eye, and you see like pupil focus.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh wow, that's pretty
Really
great.
good hair, articulation of the eyes.
Yeah.
It's like looking, because that's your moment to be like, oh, he like the boar's thinking of like what to do, because the guy's climbed the scaffolding, I think, by that point.
Yes.
And he's kind of like, oh, so he starts like ramming the thing or whatever.
Yeah.
It's this awesome thing.
Yeah, he's a large ass boor, like.
Yeah, he's a large ass
terrifyingly
boar.
large.
And you get these because they can't show it like in full, like.
Yeah, it's a lot of obscure.
If you're gonna show
shots
Kermit's legs, you gotta set that up so that they're not doing that. But they're showing like side angle shots of it like breaking through stuff.
Yeah.
And like it's like cramped and tight and messy and stuff, and you're
Big
seeing
tusks.
big things. Yeah.
like
no,
maybe
and
bursting
like
through walls with the tusks and this and that.
yeah, and a lot of callbacks, a lot of stuff. Because he does get him from below with the spear. He kind of wedges it, right? And then when he jumps on him, it's in him. I love the boar freaking out about it and like coughing up blood into his face. And he's like, oh, this is horrible. This is awful. And then it like not being dead. Because I was like, is that it? Is that how you're going to kill it or
whatever? It wasn't
whatever?
dead. Eventually, then he tricks it like the back of the box says. What is the
Oh,
exact
no, does
line
it?
of the back of the box? It says, he confronts the monstrous creature while a conveyor belt inches man and beast toward razor-sharp blades that will make pet food out of one or both. That is the ending.
Damn right,
written on the box.
that is the ending. That sucks. So they show that because when he's fighting one of the mutants.
Yeah, the guy swings in on the pork, on the pig.
Yeah, and like he's on a conveyor belt inching towards the swirling blades of death. And now the boar is too. So he has to do like a predator, like kill me, I'm right here, do it now. And then the boar,
do it now.
Do it, get me, come on. And he he jumps or like he goes for it. Then they have to cut out a part that they can't even show
Of it walking into the blade,
it. Because when they cut back, it looks like a dog is like sitting in like the washing machine.
Yeah,
and it's just like in there like going dead so weird. I'm like, okay, well,
Agreed.
still good try, guys, good times. There's enough cool shots in this ending sequence that this felt like it was
fine.
the good
But
thing.
yeah, that far I was like,
That was
you could
funny
have
to
made a
me.
noise and cut and like followed his swing into and then you could have
Something.
cut back and it would have made a little more sense.
Maybe.
There was a way to do that. They didn't do it exactly.
Maybe it goes
right.
back to the editing again. Yeah, something about in certain
It could have been coverage problems.
in certain critical moments, I feel like they kind of didn't have what they needed, and they were like, I don't know, make it work, guys.
Yeah.
Some weird, yeah.
So when you first, just to cut way back now,
Yeah.
when you first see the boar, really,
Okay.
it's in the window of the passenger of the
Oh
the
yeah.
passenger side of
when
the
it
car
when it attacks the
when it
reporter.
attacks the reporter, and like so like it somehow the lights catch it and like she can see right through because it's dark, so you wouldn't necessarily be able to see perfectly, but there's a light on it. Maybe from the lights of the car. I forget exactly the turn of events that unfolded on this, but she's like in the car, and like to the side you look, and it's just like right there. It's the full size of the window. It is gigantic, and she like doesn't react almost at all. Like it made me like think like when you're driving and you're at a red light and like someone like knocks on your window like, you want to donate change to the blah
She's
blah,
like,
and you're like, ah! Like that's like any unexpected thing in your window is scary as shit.
I took it the opposite way, where you were like, she was like, don't make eye contact, he'll go away. Leave him alone.
Well, there's that too, but that's only if you saw them ahead of time.
Yes.
If you never saw them and just a knock happened,
They're suddenly there.
You're startled.
Exactly.
Yeah, she had like no reaction at all.
This is
and
a
then,
tough
like,
moment too,
because Gores rips the door off and like pulls that bitch out. Like, you're like, oh shit.
Well, she's just had this run-in with these crazy people, so she should be hyped up to like react.
Super
and all
hyped,
that stuff. That's what I mean by like certain shots didn't feel like they were in the right order or in the right place or something.
But like from the very first look, because like we did see it with the old man early on. We saw like flashes of it, but not really a good shot.
They kept building up.
When you first saw its face, I was like, all right, this is some shit.
No, big time.
It's a good pig.
I don't want to sell that short. I had a lot of problems with the movie, like as a movie or something like that.
Agreed.
But as a
most of my like recommendation for this is just like there are some cool bits. There's some cool like where you're like what kind of world is this that you've established here?
What are the rules of this world?
It's just interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And then of course just the effects here, like from like buildings getting ripped apart to like this just gigantic pig. Where you're like that's pretty cool. I'd like to know more about the. I didn't actually look to see if there was any behind-the-scenes features. Of course not.
No, like multiple. Well, because it's so old, they weren't doing that enough then. But I wonder, like, if there was a commentary for this, I'd be super into it, like something like that, or something.
I would like to see more of the operating of that rig and how that exactly worked, and what that would have gone into as to why certain shots were the way they are. Because I picture it's probably just on some sort of a rolling dolly thing, like
they were just
maybe with wagon wheels so it can be outside.
I say multiple guys just pushing it. And then like the camera frames it like above the wheels, and it's just it going. No, and like it doesn't look like that makes it sound like it's crappy or something like that. It looks it
has a really nice
works.
feel. I super appreciate and like this kind of effect.
Yeah.
Another dumb thing that I just thought of is that the second mutant guy is like running through like some sort of a drainage ditch maybe, and like he's like, let me put my headphones on real quick.
Yeah, no,
like,
stuff like that.
What is with idiots putting their headphones on?
I thought of that too. Yeah.
Does he want like good music to die to? Because that's what happens.
No, it was weird. That's what I meant. Like. Even that, you're like, why would he put his headphones on? Was this originally a shot where he was like minding his own business and then the boar came up on him? Like, did we have to fix something or change something? It makes no sense.
I could see like hitting play, cranking the volume, and throwing the headphones to try to like get them to go the other direction. But I'm like, you're in a straight line ditch.
No one. We can't even give them that much credit or whatever.
No.
But my like for this third act or third and a half act, I have all caps. Finally, some great shots of the Razorback. That's like my thing. I'm like, here we are.
90% of all the Razorback shots are in that last
this sequence, and like when it rams the scaffolding and like it like falls or whatever, right? Like as a film to like a certain degree, like that's a callback to when he was on the the little tower, right? And like in both of those cases, there was really a tower. It really had to fall. There was really a guy on it, right? Because that's the appreciation. We get into,
where I'm like, no, real things are happening in this movie, like actual effects, real sets, cool shit, and that's mostly the recommendation here. Is that the plot is a little loose, but it's weird where it's loose and long.
Oh, like, it's like loose and slow.
Yeah,
not unlike your mom.
But it gets pretty good.
I think that it's worth checking out, like for those reasons that we're talking about, the whole thing like that, right? Like it doesn't have the sci-fi movie thing where there's people hanging from something and then it cuts to like the other side and you're like, oh, I guess that's supposed to be the elevator shaft. Like I don't know what I'm looking at here, because it's all really there. You're like, this is the beauty of like things work.
Like he's hanging from a falling scaffolding, and there's like a pig with his mouth like ready like Jaws to catch that motherfucker.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. Any last?
No, like again, like I'm not heartbroken. I'm not like, oh, this was a waste of time. I'm glad that I checked it out. It's so weird, but it's not weird enough that I'm obsessed with it now. But it's just another one of those movies.
It's definitely
right?
This is from a different time of the creature feature. Like creature features kind of devolved into a very simple path where it was like, okay, you have your cast of kooky characters, fish out of watering with a giant monster.
Right. The stoner.
And you didn't
the
really
hot
have
girl.
the large group here. So there was. It almost suffered a little bit from the Jurassic Park 3 problem where there weren't enough things to die. So like your bad guy really couldn't build up a kill count because there was no cast.
Yeah.
Like who could die? They did. And that's everybody.
Like it didn't feel linear enough either. Like you would have wanted to escalate and build it up, a la Tremors or other creature features or whatever.
Could have been nice if the phone call for the group actually did work. They got there and then it started just murking fucking drunks.
Budgetary concerns, I understand.
Sure.
But yes, like if that guy who had his house torn apart, like if this was all in like the right sequence where it was building up this like whole thing of how dangerous this thing is and all that stuff, and if you had like a real arc for the husband character to really like insert and then pay off some stuff or whatever, right? Because as it stands, it almost feels like, yeah, we were just trying to get to that fun end part, and it's like, why did we spend so much time in the middle then?
Yeah.
Like, so
because filming in like the middle of the outback of Australia can't be easy.
Right.
So like it's weird to invest so much time and I'm sure money and effort into those scenes. For little payback on your effort.
Right. It seems like you should have gone full. Like, I would be obsessed with this movie if it had a spirit journey and was really pretentious in the middle and some weird thing where, like, he knows the spirit of the pigs or something and the evil has come out of the Outback tar thing. I know that, but, like, that would be something. There's just, like, nothing where that should be. And if you're not going to do that, do, like, something else or whatever, right?
I just kept wondering, I'm like, how hot must it have been?
So hot. So gross.
I pictured just film canisters just exploding.
Just suddenly exploding.
Yeah.
Things. Yeah, I too would like to know more about the production.
Had a couple of real songs in the movie too. Like I can't remember what they were, but on par where it was like, it's like, oh, that's a song by like Elton John, or like it was like a real name. Like, and it only had like 3 songs in the whole movie.
Right.
And like 2 of them were like real, and I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah, like a fascinating thing. Not worthless, not amazing, but a fascinating like entry.
It comes in that where it's like there's thumbs up, there's thumbs down, there's like worth checking out.
Yes.
Where it's like that's kind of in between the thumbs, but like
fans,
has a place.
We say fans of the genre will enjoy this entry if it's something you've missed.
Definitely.
Something like that.
All right, guys, I think that's it for this this review of Razorback. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Cannibal Video has everything you need. A wide array of VHS and DVDs. We ate the competition, now it's only us. Our expert staff opinion